Welcome to Balanced Life with Debbie Carlin Boyle. Conversations connecting to a healthier you. The show that gives you all the latest and greatest health and wellness information to inspire you to live a life of balance and joy. Debbie Carlin Boyle is a health and nutrition coach, personal trainer, and fitness instructor who helps her clients live in balance with everything that feeds us, in addition to the food on our plate. Please welcome your host, Debbie Carlin Boyle.
Hi, welcome everybody. Welcome. Spring has sprung. It's spring here in Southern California, and we have one beautiful day left before we're going to get hit with some rain again. So I know some of my family's at the beach, so hopefully where you are, spring has sprung too. And I thank you for joining me. If you are live today, this Tuesday afternoon, wherever you're at, you may be evening, it may be morning the next day, but I still thank you for joining me live. You've come here to my podcast, which is Balanced Life with Debbie Carlin Boyle, conversations that connect to a healthier you. Got a conversation like that again today. And I have many of those conversations that I've been having for the past 7 years, believe it or not, that I've been doing podcasting. It used to be called live streaming radio. Now it's podcasting, so I'm calling it live podcasting for me, which is also rare to be doing a live show. So I do a live show, so you can call in, and I'm going to give you the number in just a second. So get ready with a pen and paper. You also can make comments. We're on my Facebook page if you're watching live, which is Balanced Life by Debbie, DEBI. We're also live at ubngo.com. And if you're listening after the fact, we still welcome comments from you, so you can go to my Facebook page, or if it's up on my YouTube channel already, make a comment, ask a question. No matter when you do it, I'm going to get back to you. So just know that. So myself or my guest, depending on what the commenter. I'm still getting comments and questions from like shows I did like 7 years ago. So I go through all of it because I get notifications when someone makes a comment. So don't hesitate to find a show and jump right in, keep the conversation going. That's the point of why I do what I do in the health realm. So I want to tell you a little bit about me. So I'm a personal trainer, a fitness instructor, and a health and nutrition coach. So there's a lot of things that have to come together to find balance in our life. As you know, one thing may be going well, but another thing may be down. For instance, you may love what you're doing creatively, but financially and career-wise, things are not coming together. Or you're trying to lose weight, but your finances are just fine. So there are things that we want to level out and balance and see why something is so low. And I'm here to help you do that. And I do a free 1-hour session. So if you go to my website, and if you're watching, it's right up on the screen right now, which is also Balanced Life by Debbie, again, DEBI.com. And there's a place for you to go right in there. Well, first off, there's going to be a pop-up, and it is a spring detox, and it is recipes for 3 days, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all of which, if you follow, they're easy. There's a shopping schedule on there, easy recipes to put together. You're going to feel lighter on your feet, lighter in your head, and you're going to get a jump start. You're just going to feel like you detoxed, and it's having delicious food without feeling like you're giving up anything. And believe me, it's not just drinking water and juices and lemon teas. That's not what this is. So go on there, grab that. That's all for free. Say hi, and let's get together and talk about what it is that may be in need of getting in alignment with the rest of the things in your life. And I'm here to help you with all the suggestions and all the ways and tools that we can do that. So I want you to become part of this conversation today if you can. So take this down. We are at area code 323-524-2599. Again, that's 323-524-2599. So give a call anytime. Jump in with a comment, a question. We want you involved. That's the idea. And I have a guest that's an expert in her field today. And I think this subject is going to resonate with many of you that are listening or watching. So go ahead and chime in. We want to hear your story. We want to hear anything that you feel is pertinent to become part of this conversation. So without further ado, I'm going to get on with the introduction of our guest today. So did you know that according to the American Psychological Association, that approximately 40 to 50% of all first marriages end in divorce? The divorce rate for second marriages is even higher, 60 to 67%. Research also shows that the most difficult stage of divorce is depression, because there are stages of divorce, which can last for years. So now enter my guest, Kelly Bonanno. Kelly Bonanno is a wellness and life coach, mom to 2 teenage boys, and a speaker. With over a decade as a wellness educator, she helps people navigate divorce with confidence so that they can become the best versions of themselves inside and out. Whether they lost themselves in their marriage, want to get in better shape, improve their style, or find lasting love, Kelly empowers them to move through the process with courage and powerfully transition to their new life. She also helps business owners reduce sick days and burnout while increasing productivity, focus, and morale with her innovative wellness programs and workshops. So, let's talk about how to get people back on track, living a life full of joy and love. Will you please welcome my guest, Kelly Bonanno, to the show? Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
Welcome. Thanks for being here. Kelly actually is one of my neighbors. I mean, not neighbor, but she lives just a couple of towns away from me. But we're doing Zoom today because the studio is not close to where we live. And we get really busy with our lives. So I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to be with me today.
Especially with LA traffic,
and I was just telling Tony that the traffic today, because we have a sunny day in the middle of all this kind of chaos we've been having weather-wise, I think everybody knows it's supposed to rain tomorrow, and they're all like out and about getting everything done today. And believe me, I saw it. So you were smart to stay on your end. It's going to take me a little while to get back. I want to get into a little bit of background about you. I want to hear, and I go, unlike most interviews, we're here for a while, and I like to go way back and hear your story. So I like to know where you're from, what your education and family life was like, and how you parlayed yourself into what you're doing today. So we're going to go that far. Tell us about you.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm born and raised in LA. I'm a LA native, which is kind of rare.
Yeah. Where? What part of LA?
West Los Angeles, Beverly Glen.
Oh, okay. Not far from where I was. Carthay Circle. Carthay, that was the elementary school I went to, Carthay Circle Elementary. So that's funny.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, small world.
I went to Roscommon Road in Bel Air.
Yeah. Know it.
So I was actually born in Westwood, and my parents were in their early 40s when they had me. They used to call me their surprise. Then I realized I wasn't planned. They had 3 teenage kids.
Ooh.
My brothers and sisters were 13, 15, and 17. And then they were surprised with me. So they never made me feel like an accident or anything like that. But I kind of realized, okay, the age difference. So
but they had instant babysitters with your brothers and sisters. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I mean, yeah, I would spend a lot of time with my brothers and sisters. In fact, my sister, who's closest to my age, she was in high school. Some days when my mom was in a pinch, I would go to high school with her.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, there you go.
But then it was fun because I became an aunt when I was 6, so I'm really close to a lot of my nieces and nephews. I was like 3 when my oldest sister got married. So
wow.
That's my, and it's all the same marriage too. A lot of people I know that have a big age difference, it's maybe a second marriage, but my parents were one of the rare, you quoted the statistics, they were married until the day my mom died for over 60 years. So,
that's sweet.
And all of my brothers and sisters are still married too. So I'm the only divorced one in the family, although I have some nieces and nephews that are divorced. And so I grew up in West LA, stayed in the LA area, but then I went to college at Kent State in Ohio for a little bit. Then I came back here and went to CSUN and kind of worked and went to school at the same time. Then I got a job. I really wanted to work in network television. And so I got a job at CBS, worked my way up. I started as a production assistant, and then I worked my way up. I was there for almost a decade, slowly but surely worked my way up into running the department. It was a division of on-air promotions. And I really, really loved my career there. It was great, but it was very demanding. And I probably wouldn't have seen my kids. So I did leave there when I had my first son, Joey, who's actually 20. And I've always been really health-minded. Like I was following Dr. Oz way before he was on Oprah. Mm-hmm. And so that was always part of my parents were healthy, although they liked their wine, but they worked out and ate healthy. And so I've always been health-minded. So that was really natural for me. And then when I started a blog, even though I loved being a stay-at-home mom, I always wanted to do something else. I was writing for websites and magazines, and then I started my own blog. And I loved writing about a lot of things, but it really kind of started morphing more into a wellness blog. And that sort of started me on this journey of really, I was already healthy, but even more so. And in particular, toxic load. I started learning about like the toxins that are, in plastics and in our personal care and beauty products, our household products, the environment, and how toxic load is really, really detrimental to our health because so many of the toxins are carcinogenic or they're endocrine disruptors. So they, can mess with the endocrine system, neurotoxins, and a lot of them actually are obesogens, which can cause that chemically induced weight gain. So there's, the weight connection there.
Absolutely. Yeah. They're everywhere.
Yes,
it's just so, need lots of people to bring that awareness out. People like you is really necessary, I think, because it's, we're being sold all these goods that are so toxic for us, that are carcinogenic. And it's true with food, but it's also true with everything we put for cleaning products, our, how we clean our dishes, our clothes, how we what we put on our skin, our hair. I mean, it's just, it goes on and on and on. And I think recently laws have changed here in this country, but it's taken years because Europe has done it for years, that there are certain carcinogenics that now can't be put into our products. But why it took so long, I have no idea. It just...
I know. It's... The FDA just is really not protecting us in so many ways.
It's lobbyist or whatever it is. It's so political. It's like the drug world too, and why health care, it should be well care, but it's really sick care. But sick care allows the pharmaceutical companies to make a lot of money. So we can go on, but it's true. And so people, getting the word out, people like you are so necessary, because I know that's a big part of your business, is helping people detox from both from a physical standpoint and in an internal standpoint, from things that are around us and the things that we, from the inside out. So it's really important, really important. So that became kind of a passion for you to pursue that, huh? So
definitely. Yes. I was kind of known as the eco-friendly girl. And, but then then I started coaching, but then I really wanted to focus on all the pillars of health. So nutrition and stress. I mean, stress management, but really perceiving stress and our mindset. I started really realizing how important the mindset is and how we are perceiving stress and how we're perceiving things going on in our life is really at the root of things and how we handle things. And it all comes back to us. So, that's why my program it hits all of them. It's like, yes, we'll get your nutrition dialed in so you can, get to a weight you want and stay there without dieting. I'm on a mission to get people off diets.
Yeah, there's no such thing. Yeah.
Like diets are.
Yeah, it's lifestyle. I mean, you want to get into a healthy lifestyle.
Creating a lifestyle, exactly.
Yeah.
And then yes, reducing toxic load, because a lot of people don't realize maybe they get headaches or they have brain fog or fatigue or allergies or worse. I mean, 2/3 of breast cancer is estrogen dominant. Mm-hmm. And these chemicals, they act as estrogen in our body. So there's a real link there. And, I don't want to scare people, but at the same time, like you said, more information. And luckily more people are getting aware, and more businesses are realizing that they have to remove some of this stuff. But the problem is there's so much greenwashing. So there's really no laws in place, so they can say they're clean, green, whatever it is, when actually they're not.
They're not. And there's so many buzzwords that you can put on. Exactly. Healthy, clean, natural. Natural has no regulation behind it. So people see natural, they think, oh, it must be organic. It's not true. It says certified organic, then it's organic. It's an education, and it becomes overwhelming, which is why I think coaches and people like us can help people simplify and still be educated. Yeah.
Because it's like, you don't need to become a scientist. I'll help you. You just have some good go-to trusted brands. And so many are out there. Like when I first got into this, it was slim pickings. There were not a lot of good quality brands that were actually truly clean. Now there are, but there are still some products that
sneak through. Yeah. And I have, and I think there's a lot of these out there. I have an app on my phone called Think Dirty. And, it's free. You don't have to pay for it. And all you do is scan the barcode on the product, and it will tell you where it lies in the clean category. And it will tell you all the ingredients. It will be like, if there's a red bar, it will tell you all the bad ingredients that there is in this. And the thing is, it makes you be informed on whether or not you want to buy the product and put it in you, on you, around you, and I do that with everything I'm not sure about. Now I'm at a point where I just have my stable of products that I buy because they've already been vetted, through Think Dirty. Exactly. Yeah. And that's how we want people to live. And it's also good for our environment. I mean, it's a global thing. It's not just for us.
Absolutely.
It's for our health, but for our planet too. So
everything goes down the drain. It's harming marine life and wildlife, and it's important for everything.
Yeah.
And,
So you're so glad people like you are doing what you're doing. And then you have a wellness program too, but recently you've gotten more into helping people navigate divorce, because that's really what we're going to focus on today. And that's important. I'm someone who's gone through a pretty contentious divorce. You've gone through a divorce much more recently than me. No matter what, contentious or not, it takes a toll. There are many ways it takes a toll. A divorce in a way is you have to go through a mourning period because it's a loss, and it's not just a loss of a person, it's a loss of things and for your children and feelings and, companionship and just
that identity, whether you want that identity or not, that's been your identity for a long time. And
so true. I mean, so true. And it's really, it's a very difficult thing to navigate. And when I started going through what I went through 12 years ago, there weren't people like you around. It's called Your X Factor. That's the book by Dr. Stephen Poulter that I picked up. And it helped me because it categorized different types of people and different ways people work with each other, and more about the reasons why you're going through it, and then how to be successful getting through it. But then I looked him up, and he became my psychologist. He's a clinical psychologist. So, and he's written a lot of things, Your Mother Factor, Your Father Factor, but Your X Factor was very, very, very popular book for him for good reason. So tell us a little bit about what it is that you can do for people, because it's not just, oh, let me help you feel better, because that a therapist can do. What it is that you provide for people, I'm assuming mostly women, because I know you work with a lot of women, but it's for people, anybody who might be going through a breakup, separation, or a divorce.
Yes, going through it or starting the process, or on the other side of it, it's it's the second most stressful thing according to most statistics. And there's even when it is amicable and you want it and you're ready for it, it's still, like you were saying, it's still such a process, and there's things that you don't even realize are going to come up. And that's what shocked me. It was amicable. It was something we wanted, but it's still such a change. And, you have to mourn the divorce. But I think the main thing that I really try to help people with is, like you said, it's from the inside out. Yes, we work on the aspects that will help you get through it, because you can't change anybody else, but you can change yourself. You can change your perception. You can change how you react to things and how you see things. And that changes everything. And, we become our thoughts, and what we think on expands, and what we resist persists. So I want to move through. What really helped me was just moving through the feelings and not being afraid of them and getting on the other side of them. You've heard that expression, the only way out is through. And really taking ownership of how I'm going to really react, how I'm going to process everything, and how I'm going to move to my next chapter. I just really wanted my next chapter to be the best chapter. But if you're putting your thoughts on, okay, there's nobody good to date out there, and, everyone's a player, or there's, everyone's already married, or what have you, there's, then that's what you're going to find. If you place these, negative thoughts on your future, then that's what because your brain looks for evidence. Your brain is going to look for what you're telling it. So what I really want to work on with people is getting them to a point where they are creating the life they want and creating the people they want to be in moving forward in their next chapter. And because it all starts with us, and creating the kind of person that you want to have, because especially if you have children, you're going to have a relationship with your ex. And like you said, there's so many different levels. There's, luckily mine was amicable, but we still had our issues, but some are very contentious. And so it really depends on what people are going through. But what I really want to empower people is that you really can have there is the greatest life on the next side. Mm-hmm. And it's hard. Sometimes it's really hard to see that, and you really got to go through it. Mm-hmm. But to get to that other side, it's such a gift. And it breaks my heart when people, really don't believe that. And so when I see people and they're flourishing, that it just lights me up. So that's why I've moved more to working with divorced people. I mean, because divorce is so prevalent, like you mentioned, yeah. And it's really even more prevalent when you think of people who want to get divorced and are too afraid. So that's the other thing. I'm not like advocating divorce, like campaigning for it. But you're really not in the right marriage, and you're not with the right people. You both deserve to be happy. Yeah, and you both deserve to have that next best chapter.
The fear is of the unknown on the other side. It's like, how am I going to do this on my own? Number one, will I ever attract anybody again? I know you help people with that. Number two, financially, how are we going to make this work? Number three, how it's going to affect the kids. And we can just go down the line and number them, but those are big ones. I know this happened to me, and I know it happened to several of my friends, men and women alike, but mostly my girlfriends that went through divorce. There was something that we kind of joked was the divorce diet. Meaning that without trying, you lost weight, because basically your nervous system is taxed. Your cortisol levels are up, which cortisol can cause actually body fat to be put on. But in this case, you're kind of working on adrenaline. So you just can't. I know for the first year, at least the first year, I lost 15 pounds. And I really don't have 15 pounds to lose, or I didn't back then. And it wasn't good because I started to look like I'm almost too skinny, and I know people were talking behind my back and stuff. But for other people who had been trying to diet, and then all of a sudden they're launched into the situation that is the unknown, they're really living in fear. And the fear, they're not hungry, they're not taking good care of themselves, they're trying desperately to figure out what the next step is. I would imagine you coming in to help get people on track and get healthy and be able to eat healthily and nurture it and nourish their bodies while they're going through such turmoil on the outside. You know, I imagine you really can come in very handy for that. Oh, we have a phone call, Kelly. Let's take our call before we take our break.
Fitness.
Oh, hi. Caller, are you there? Hello?
Yes, hi. Hi.
Hi, what's your name? Yes. Hi, what's your name and where are you calling?
My name is Jake.
Okay. And where are you calling from?
Jake, calling from Santa Monica.
Oh, local. Hi, Jake. Thank you for calling. Do you have a question or a comment for Kelly or myself today?
Yeah, I do. I was listening to the show earlier. A good female friend of mine, she told me about Kelly's services a long time ago. Or it's not that long ago. She's been using them for a little while now and just had a lot of good results. She lost a lot of weight, a lot healthier. And I've recently gotten divorced, and I could stand to lose a few pounds. And I was wondering, does Kelly also work with men in terms of weight loss and getting into healthier physical shape as well, besides women?
Absolutely. Hi, Jake. Thank you for calling. Yes, I work with men and women, definitely. And, you know, I actually love working with men because they have a whole different outlook. And especially men that are coming off divorce, like, they really want to be happy. You know, we hear these things about like midlife crisis, but it's not that. It's that midlife happiness they want. They want, you know, they're looking for something and they want that satisfaction. So, so I love helping men get that, you know, that.
Great.
Yeah. There you go, Jake.
Okay, great.
So get in touch with Kelly.
So
Kelly, how can?
Yeah.
How are you watching us or listening? I'm just curious.
No, listening.
Okay, so Kelly, can you mention, because your website is up on the screen, but since you can't see, if you can mention how he can reach you.
KellyBonanno.com, KellyBonanno. That's a tricky one, .com.
Okay.
Thank you, Jake.
Great.
That was a great question. That was great. Thank you. Thanks for calling in and joining the conversation today. You too. Bye now. Oh, great.
Bye.
That was kind of part and parcel of what we were talking about, and how we just stop taking care of ourselves when we are dealing with something. So I think divorce is traumatic, you know, and there are levels of trauma for sure. But I think for me, it was very traumatic. I was married for 26 years with the same person for 34. And I didn't know, and I met him when I was 19. And we didn't part until I was in my mid-50s. So it was extremely the unknown world to me. And that's what put me into the danger zone and why I lost the weight and why everything was not running properly. So we're going to take a quick break from one of my sponsors. You're going to like this sponsor. She's actually on my show. And then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about detoxing your life, not just with the things, but with relationships and you know, kind of starting fresh. So we'll talk about how you do that with people when we get back right after this message. Without looking at labels, do you actually know what is in the cleaning products that you use in your home? If you haven't addressed this yet, it's likely that you are spraying toxic and dangerous chemicals in your home. 3 common ingredients that you want to avoid at all costs are ammonia, fragrance, and bleach. These ingredients and chemicals can contribute to chronic respiratory problems, allergic reactions, allergies, cancer, hormonal issues, headaches, and more. So what's the solution to a healthier, clean home for your family? Teas Organics, all-purpose cleaner, and room sprays. Tea's products are formulated with the power of an essential oil blend. Her all-purpose cleaner gives you a clean surface, shower, toilet, or simply just use it to spot clean or dust, and all without harsh chemicals. And to make it even better, Tea's Organics all-purpose cleaner uses 100% organic essential oils and has a sweet yet spicy herbal aroma with hints of citrus. Imagine a fresh, inviting scent and sparkling clean home that you know is free from toxic, potentially harmful, and cancer-causing chemicals. I use these products, and I can personally attest to all of the above. And right now, enjoy a 15% discount by applying Debbie, DEBI, to your order. So check out these amazing products by Tea's Organics that are healthy for you and your home. Okay, we're back. Thanks for listening in. We are talking about navigating divorce to become optimal in your wellness and get to the other side. So to become the best version of yourself with my guest and expert, health coach and life coach and divorce coach expert, Kelly Bonanno. So welcome, Kelly. Welcome back. If you want to ask a question, we just had a great question. A guy called in, Jay called in to see if Kelly worked with men, and she does. Give us a call, area code 323-524-2599. We'll take your call right away. If you're listening after the fact, go to my Facebook page or my YouTube channel, ask a question, make a comment, and we'll answer it as soon as I see it. So we were talking a little bit before the break on how you help people detox in many ways, not just from their products, but also from their relationships and other things in their life that can really be blocking them from living their best life. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, how you help them do that?
Yeah, it's really, you can look at the whole picture. And, there's some relationships that are, can cause strife in our life. And sometimes it's, yes, extricating ourselves from things, but sometimes it's just creating boundaries. And, especially with people pleasers, which many women can just naturally be people pleasers. And we take on too much, it causes too much stress, and it can cause resentment. And, creating boundaries with people, because you can't become the best version of yourself if you are doing too much for everyone else and not taking care of yourself. So those relationships that are draining, there's a loving way to create the boundaries and kind of detox those relationships. And then, we talked about the aspect of the food and really taking care of yourselves from the inside out. A lot of psychologists now are working with health coaches because they realize how that's the foundation, that if you're living a healthy lifestyle and really fortifying your body with nutrient-dense foods and, getting the water, getting the movement, that's the foundation. A lot of people don't even need to go, down the rabbit hole of medication and whatnot. If we get, your health really on track, that affects the mental health so much more than people realize. And fortunately, the mental health industry is realizing that as well.
I know. I'm going to jump in here because I think and I've talked about this a lot on different shows. I think food has so much to do with our mental wellness. And, food, obviously, sleep and movement come together, but food is the number one thing. And if you're living a life of junk food, or you start medicating yourself with food or alcohol or any kind of antidepressant drugs, you're actually feeding what you're trying to help, and you're making it worse. And so, and I think a lot of times if people just ate right, we'd have a lot less violence in this world, a lot kinder, gentler people, less road rage, less impulsivity to be mean, just so much more kindness, because food makes you happy. So when you're happy, why would you want to do bad? That would only want to generate you wanting to do good and to help others instead of harm others. And I think that's, we talk about food in terms of personally feeling better or looking better to get a better body, but we never talk about it as a mental health crisis in what we're putting in our body. We're depleting ourselves of nutrients that our brain needs in order for our serotonin levels to take us to the place where we do feel, it's our feel good. What's one of our feel good hormones? If we deplete that, we're just angry. We're just angry. And when you're angry, that's when people get, I think, violent. I've always maintained that, and
Yeah.
the biggest thing they should be doing in our jail systems, in our lockup systems, is not helping people, sure, to rehabilitate themselves and get back to a decent life, depending on, of course, what their crime was. But if you want this person to change how they think about the world, they need to change what they're putting in their bodies, for sure, 100%. I think it's so important. I'm glad you made the correlation about that, because it's really important. Because if people, divorce, again, is a trauma, and
Yes.
people can go one of two ways. You can go down that rabbit hole of really, sabotaging yourself, or you can start taking care of yourself and wake up and become, it's like a new door is opened. It's like you've entered Oz, whoa, okay. But you're not going to appreciate if you're not taking care of yourself. So yes, you're well needed. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just think that people don't make that correlation enough with food.
You're absolutely
the
right.
food-brain connection, the gut-brain connection,
Yes, the gut and the brain are so connected, and people don't typically realize that. And I don't believe in a diet, like I mentioned, and it's not about not enjoying some of your favorite foods. Like I say, you don't have to give up chocolate or wine. It's about just creating a lifestyle. So it's, if you're doing most of the healthy things most of the time, then you've got some wiggle room. It doesn't matter if you're having your wine, your nachos, your margarita, whatever it is. And the same thing goes with the toxins. Some people are like, oh my gosh, well, do I have to change every single item that I use? It's like, no, if you have a favorite eye cream that's maybe not clean, just change over other things. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. And I think that's a big problem with a lot of people. They have this all or nothing. So then they're doing way too many things that are detrimental to their health, instead of, and it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and progress, not perfection with all of that. And the other thing that people use food and alcohol and shopping, gambling, is that sort of buffering. They turn to that instead of dealing with their emotions and
sabotage.
It's sabotage. Yeah. And that can really stall things. So that's what I really like to help people through. So you can enjoy your foods, your drinks, your shopping, your Netflix, because you want to do it, not because it's tamping down things. Because if you repress emotions, they're going to get you somehow. They're going to come out somewhere down the line, whether in emotions can get trapped in your body as pain.
That's right. And physical pain. Pain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you can't ignore it, because those little things, they don't just go away because you're ignoring it. They just don't. You were talking earlier about when, as women, we take on a lot, and, and going through a divorce here, you're kind of, you can, especially if you have kids and you're working, you put your emotions aside because you have to deal with work and your kids. And there's so many things, as you and I know. When you go through a divorce, there's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of logistics, there's a lot of, going down that rabbit hole of finances and all kinds of things, which also stir up yucky stuff,
Yep.
And sometimes I realize that people, and I'm not sure, I heard this on a podcast, I think it was a podcast I was listening to, or a radio show, but one of the best ways to kind of not say yes to everything is to think about, when people are asking you to do something, you think about whether or not, would I say yes to this if it had to be done tomorrow? And if the answer is no, say no now. If the answer is yes, because you overwhelmingly think it's great and you want to do it, and you could do it tomorrow and you would do it tomorrow, then the answer is yes. And that will eliminate, it's really a smart way to go, I think.
It is.
And
Yeah.
it's brand new. I just heard it in the last 2 days, but I just thought, bingo, what a way for a woman who seems to be so overwhelmed with everything that's going on, which definitely is going to affect her health. To say yes or no without feeling guilty, because as women, we do say yes to everything. Especially, I know when my kids were little and I was asked to volunteer for anything and everything, I took it all on working. I was a television commercial producer for 30 years, and I tried to navigate and balance that and say yes to everything for my kids' lives too. You can't say yes to everything because you can't do everything well. You know, you got to focus on one thing at a time. And if you whittle away at that one thing will flourish. Right. And if you try to pick out 15 things and try to be good at all of them, you won't be good at any one of them.
Exactly.
You know, so, and it's hard for people to get that, especially women get the way we're, you know, men can kind of zero in on their work. And I don't want to genderize this at all. You know, it's all, I'm just saying in general.
Right.
And so it makes it so much more difficult. And you help lots of women. I know you have programs like weight loss programs to do it in a way that they realize they can change their lifestyle and not use, like you said, change everything all at once, because that becomes overwhelming, and then it's a loss.
And then it backfires. Yeah. You can't do too much, or you're not going to do anything long term. Anybody can white knuckle on a diet for 3 weeks, 2 weeks, a month, or whatever. But then that's why most diets fail. I mean, only, what is it? The statistic, I think, is 3% of people who actually go on a diet even succeed, because if you're not changing your mindset, your habits, your lifestyle, then it's just way too easy to revert back.
Right.
And, you know, like I said, really changing that mindset. So you're not doing that buffering anymore, and not going, you know, you're not just white knuckling and then, okay, now I'm going to go back to this to soothe myself. You know, you're really looking at really creating tools and methods to get through the feelings and the emotions, to deal with them, and then getting through to the other side, and just changing the thought process and the feelings that would change your whole trajectory. So your actions are different, your results are different, and you're creating the life you want and being the person that you want to be, instead of buffering and hiding and, you know.
So if someone comes to you, give us an example. I mean, you don't have to give an example of someone you worked with, but give us an example of how you would do that with somebody, how you would get them to change their mindset. What's the process?
Well, we first, it depends on, you know, the situation,
right,
and
of course,
where they're at. And, you know, I start with their most pressing issue. And every single session, we work on, you know, like the most pressing. We focus on one or two things, and then we create some action steps, doable action steps for them to do between this session and the next session. So that way it's, and then those habits build upon each other. Mm-hmm. So it's not overwhelming, and it's not too much. And then it's not like, well, I can't keep up with this. I'm just going to go back to my old ways. It's like pretty soon we create the habit, because when you create a habit very, as you know, gently and small, then it, you know, when you keep doing with repetition, then it becomes a habit. You know, you want to make these things become like brushing your teeth, so they don't feel, you know, with such effort. And the other thing is, same thing with our thoughts. You know, we have that neural plasticity in our brains, mm-hmm. so we can change the way we think about things, the way we view things, which then changes our whole world and our life and our future. But that takes practice as well. And I'm not saying like that toxic positivity where you're just always thinking good thoughts. No, it's addressing the negative emotions, the negative feelings, the tough stuff, but feeling them and working through them, and also looking at the facts, what's really going on, because sometimes we tell ourselves stories in our head. So what I like to help people do is like, okay, is this a story we're making up, or is this a fact? And if it is a fact, then we look at the thoughts we have around it and the feelings we have around it. And then, you know, you got to feel the feelings. Like I have ways of helping people get through the feeling to the other side. I think, and I know I was guilty of this for many years, and I suffered the consequences, is being afraid to feel those negative feelings and kind of just tamping them down, brushing them under the rug. But they always will get you. Mm-hmm. And what I've discovered, and what I love when my clients discover this, is it's not scary. You just feel it, get to the other side, and then whatever you do, sometimes it's crying, sometimes it takes longer than others, and sometimes something you're so afraid of really isn't that scary. And then you can it opens your mind, a whole new world. And then you can, from a very, logical standpoint, make a new plan and a new thought and a new action to have what you really want. So it's just looking at the thought process and just slowly but surely changing that mindset. So we're not mired in going down that rabbit hole.
It sounds like it's a breakthrough. And once you break through, it opens up for you to be a success in all the other phases of what you need to do to get to, the life that you want and deserve. You also help people, because we're going to be winding down here in a few minutes, believe it or not, but you also help people find love and kind of reset. So this is the part I'm really curious about. How do you do that? How do you work with people and giving them? I know it starts with the confidence, and you have a whole thing where you help people fit back into their jeans. So I know there's a style component to it. But tell us the process for you to help them find love with you.
Yeah, well, so much of the time I hear I just want to fit back into my cute clothes, and that's so doable, And I mean, when you're divorced and trying to get back out into the dating scene, the dating scene is scary for anybody at any time in life. So I really try to, just kind of build that confidence and put them in the same mindset that gets them to the point where because what you believe is going to happen. And so we work on it. So we get your mindset to the point where you look at dating and getting out there. So it's fun. So you are creating the kind of love life that you want and creating the person that you want to be. Who do you want to be? And also looking at patterns. Really, it's important that we first start with ourselves, look at ourselves and look in the mirror and see, take ownership of what you did in the marriage or what you didn't do, or because you don't want to make the same mistakes. You don't want to have the same marriage. You don't want to date the same type of person. So, you really want to look at things and see what changes you can make. So you make the steps to getting the life, the love life, the people that you want to attract. So you're not repeating the same mistakes.
So Go ahead. I was just going to say, so you help people weed that out, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Is that through a conversation, a worksheet? How does that work? Do they say, well, here are the mistakes that or here are the things in my marriage. I married a narcissist, or at least I think he or she was a narcissist. And I focused on their happiness, or how do you help them kind of get rid of that to make sure they don't do it again? The process.
We just kind of, get honest and look at things because it takes two to tango. Yes, there are certain circumstances that, if somebody is literally, gambling your money away or having an affair behind your back for 2 years. There's certain things, but in any circumstance, we can change the way we react to things and the way that we perceive things. We can't change other people, but we can change ourselves and the way we react and perceive things. So in a healthy way, so it is healthy for us and not detrimental. And so we don't play the victim. That's really the biggest thing. Mm-hmm. And I know I was guilty of it. And that's what I think really stands in the way of most happiness. Most people in happiness is playing the victim, because you don't take ownership and you don't take responsibility for because only you're responsible for your life. No matter what someone has done to you, only you can change yourself and your life, and you're responsible. And so you have to kind of take ownership of that no matter what's gone on. And the other thing is, the most important relationship you're ever going to have is with yourself. Mm-hmm. So it's really, and some people, really, it takes a lot of work because Self-love is very, very hard. So it really starts with self-love. And sometimes it's a long process to get to that self-love. But when you have that, when you love yourself, then you're more apt to find someone who is going to love you. Right. People can't really love you any more than you love yourself.
Right.
And people aren't going to perceive you in much of a different light that you perceive yourself. So it really depends on where someone is. You know, some people are very traumatized, and so it takes some time, but others maybe are kind of halfway there or closer.
Yeah.
But that's the trick. And it takes, mental repetition, but you can get there. Yeah. And like you said, having that breakthrough and just making a decision and having the discipline and just realizing that, no one's going to love you any more than you love yourself.
Right. That's huge. And what I believe, and we are winding down right now, but what I believe is that's what coaches are for, because we're your cheerleaders. Yeah. We're here to help you get to that breakthrough, because it's really hard to do it on your own. And that's why you should seek us out. So tell people again how they can get a hold of you, Kelly, and get to your website and see all the wonderful things that you do.
Sure. Yeah. So kellybonanno.com is my site. KELLYB as in boy, ONANNO. And a lot of people put the 2 N's in the beginning, but they're the end.com. And I have some free resources there. I also have, if people are still interested in the clean beauty, like I've vetted and researched plenty of lines that have my eco seal of approval for that part of detoxing your life. And really starting with a free intro coaching session. I love to start there. There's, we can put a link in the show notes if you want for a free call with me, that we can kind of really find out where you're at and if I'm the one to take you there. But in the very least, I can give you 1 or 2 action steps to move forward. Because the other thing about what I love about what coaching, we can see their blind spots, and I've been coached. People
I love
see
that.
my blind spots, because we're just, we have tunnel vision when it comes to ourselves. And so, we see our blind spots, and just pointing out things that
you can't possibly realize
There's so many
yourself.
Stories we're telling in our heads, and a coach can just get you right on the right path and get off that path of stories.
What if we think about it this way? Or what if you try that, and things that you would never on your own come up with?
Yes.
It's very difficult to do it on your own. Yeah. That's really good. And so now you're going to leave us with final words, whether it's just a saying or some advice or just a final thought, just some final words to leave us today.
I would say that, going back to that self-love, you are the most important person in your life. You're the most important, the most important relationship you're going to have is with yourself. And it all starts with you and loving yourself and the way you think about yourself and your thoughts. You really become our thoughts. And so the world you want to create just starts with you and within you.
Perfect. Thank you, Kelly, for your time and expertise. Really appreciate it. And I want to tell you to get in touch with Kelly. If anything resonated with you today, definitely go to her website and see all the good things that she's doing and the programs that she has. And I want to tell you to keep going out and finding that conversation that connects to a healthier you. All right. We're going to see you in a couple weeks. Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. And go subscribe to my YouTube channel and see all the content that's on there. See you soon. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.